Let's bring in our political panel now to unpack all of this. Mick Mulvaney is a NewsNation political contributor and former chief of staff to Donald Trump. And Kurt Bardella is Democratic strategist and NewsNation contributor and host of Kurt's Country. Great to have both of you here. Okay, Mick, let's start with these pardons within the first 9 minutes. You'll have to explain to me the significance of 9 minutes. Because I don't really like, why not 10? But anyway, more than 1,500 people have been charged with everything from trespassing to assaulting to police officers. The question is, will these pardons that he's going to give out include the right-wing extremist leaders of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers? They were convicted of sedition and sentenced to decades in prison.
I was encouraged by one thing. I can't explain. I have no insight, Elizabeth, as to 9 minutes versus 10 versus 11. But what I took away from that Time magazine article, something I think Kurt and I have actually talked about here on the Hill on NewsNation, which is it's not going to be a blanket pardon. It's not going to be just anybody related to January 6th. They're going to look at these on a case-by-case basis. That's encouraging to me. That's how pardons are supposed to work. You look at folks and say, well, does the sentence actually match the crime? And for non-violent people, I think that's a good place to start. So you have to let it play out, but at least as someone who doesn't want to see January 6th sort of brushed under the rug and sort of tried to be erased from history, but to look at these on a case-by-case basis is the appropriate way to look at the presidential pardon authority.
Kurt, what do you make of that? Because we do know that these leaders of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, I mean, they weren't directly involved in assaulting police officers, so they could claim they weren't being violent themselves, but they've been convicted of serious crimes, and they've said publicly they expect to be pardoned.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my issue with this is more of the timing. Why is this the very first thing you're going to do? I would much rather the president, the incoming president, do something that has to do more with the economy, that has to do more with making government more efficient, effective, and cost-effective for taxpayers, something to do with inflation or energy production, the things that I think that he ran on that convinced the American people to give him a second term. I would much rather see the president-elect go down that path in his first minutes in office, rather than send that first impression of Trump 2 is pardoning people associated with what I believe was a domestic terrorist attack on American soil on our nation's capital that day. Why would you do that first? That perplexes me.
Yeah. Mick, Trump also said...
That one I know the...
Okay, go ahead.
That one I know the answer to. That's what he's doing, Kurt, in the first 8 minutes. In the first 8 minutes, he's doing all of the things you just laid out. In the ninth minute, he's going to do the pardon.
Minutes.
Well, it is. No, but seriously, keep in mind, he was ready to win this time. They weren't ready to win in 2016, so they didn't do a lot of the prep work. These are going to be executive orders and pardons, paperwork that they can be working on now and have probably been working on since the summer. So you can expect a flurry of activity on that first day because they've had several months to prepare for this.
All right, we'll see. Mick, Trump also said he'll begin deporting immigrants in the opening hours of his second presidency. He vowed to deport entire families in this interview, even the more than 4 million children who are American citizens because they were born here. Is it even legal to deport American citizens like that?
Listen, I think this is how they're going to deal with, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. This is how they're going to deal with the issue, the very difficult issue of family separation. If a child is a citizen because they're born here under birthright citizenship and the parents are not, do you let the whole family stay? Do you separate the family, or do you deport the entire family? And I think what Trump has said and what Tom Homan has said is, look, we're going to leave it up to the families. The parents who are here illegally have to go, especially, by the way, if one of them has engaged in criminal activity. But we're not going to willingly separate the families. If the children want to go with them, they can. It's going to be a tricky situation. There's no question. The use of the military is going to be a tricky situation. And I don't think they can actually deport people on the first day because they haven't found a lot of these people yet. But I do take them at their word. They said they're going to focus on the people who have committed illegal acts while they were here. That's probably a place where there's at least a groundswell of some support amongst the American public to get rid of the folks
Everybody
who have
wants to get rid of the
crimes
criminals who are here illegally. I don't think that's remotely controversial. It's the families and the migrants who are here perhaps illegally but doing very important work, picking our produce or working in poultry factories. Those folks, it becomes a little, that becomes a little more, we're in gray territory. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.